man. I just really want to get to this.
Shoot.
So I'm
3.
I'm not even gonna fuck around. Welcome into the 2 Decades Too Late podcast gang.
Yeah.
I am Brad, hanging out with Josh.
Yeah.
This is a podcast in which we rate and review an album that's turning 20 years old, mostly metal for whatever it's worth. Not today, at times, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Ish. I don't really know what to say about that. We each give 1 to 5 rating on 4 different parameters to give an individual maximum point total of 20 and a maximum point total of our combined scores of 40. And this is, I think, one of the very first albums you and I ever even talked about doing for this podcast years ago. I think, in my mind, the goal was to make it to 2025.
Right.
So we could talk about this. Josh, what are we getting into today?
We are getting into an album from a band who is Canadian, like all good musicians, I'll say. We'll get the Comeback Kid at some all
point
musicians from Canada are good, but all good musicians are from Canada. I'll just put that out there.
It's not so inaccurate. It's an obvious exaggeration, but by how much? Not a lot.
It's hard to say. And this is a concept album, so when you get into concept albums, like that becomes an even truer statement.
Yes, I would agree with that. Don't call it a concept album, though.
Don't call it a comeback kid.
Sick.
Yeah.
Oh, you Canadians, you're crushing it.
Burlington, Ontario, Canada. The band had only been around for 4 years at this point. Formed in 2001.
That's frustrating.
It is frustrating. Today's album was released July 26th, 2005 on Ferret, which I don't think I knew they were on Ferret.
I did, only because I found out about them because of a Ferret sampler.
Okay.
That's why I bought this album, because of a Ferret sampler.
I kind of wondered. I listen to most Ferret artists,
Yeah.
But I don't know where this one came from. And it came from you to me. I had no idea.
Yeah, this was a weird one. There was, without obviously spoiling it like I did last week, this was, I did the same exercise. I couldn't remember exactly how this even, because I bought the CD from FYE when it came out.
Nice.
It was because of a Ferret sampler, because this is not something I was listening to at the time, this style of music. This was just so left field. There was no rhyme or reason for me landing on this, but
with that, gotta tell you, this is the album Trainwreck from Boys Night Out.
And how, man.
Yeah. They had one prior release in 2003, Make Yourself Sick. I think I've gone back to listen to it, perhaps, but not as impactful as this one for some reason.
No. It doesn't really sound that similar either. The albums are, it's almost like a completely changed genre between the two.
Well, so the band members may play a part in that. 2 of the band members were only in for this album, 2005 to 2006.
Yeah, which is weird, and not the amount of things that had to happen to make this sound the way that it does, and then the amount of things that had to happen for me to even have found it.
Yes,
it feels I feel a kinship with that in a strange way, just because it's I don't know. This is an unquantifiable album for me in a lot of ways.
We're going to quantify it, but
the best we can, yeah.
Yep. But the band members for this album are Dave Costa on bass, who was in the band from 01 to 16 when they took a little hiatus or broke up, however you want to look at that.
Yeah, depending on that, yep.
Jeff Davis on guitar, vocals, and group vocals from 01 to 16. Connor Lovett Fraser on lead vocals. So founding member, still in the band. Kara Dupuy? Dupuy? I don't know. Sorry, Kara. Keyboard and group vocals, and Brian Southall, drums and group vocals, both in the band 05 to 06.
Yeah. Man, could you have asked for a better brief drummer? Like,
no.
It's unbelievable.
It's worth saying right now, and then multiple times again throughout this episode, the drums are a standout effort on this album all the way through. They do a huge amount of the lifting, and I didn't know you could tell stories with drums, but man, this guy fucking crushed it.
Yeah, I actually, I mean, I don't want to hop around outside of our normal, like, framework too much, but track 2, Dreaming, I have a note that says the drum work is bananas. I'm going to point it out now, and I'm going to try really hard not to point it out every time it happens, because that would be redundant and close to impossible.
Would be. That dead horse would be so kicked.
Yeah, that's because I mean, the rhythm section just in general. I would listen to the bass and drum tracks only from this. Like if they were to release it with just those two instruments, I would listen to it.
Which you could do, but you would also be remiss for, because the things 100%. That the keyboards and guitars add are just incredible.
This is a stressfully well done album.
So you said a little bit ago, don't call it a concept album, and that reminded me, we did Thrice recently, and I do want to say, like, I've listened to some of those songs outside of the context of that album and in the context of some other songs, and there are more good songs on that album than it sounded like I was giving it credit for last week.
Hey man, we both had similar situations happen, so you know.
In the context of a concept album, the band was hesitant to write a concept album or even call this one because it sounds pretentious to do such a thing.
Well, it's funny because it just super isn't. Maybe at the time, I don't ever remember that being a hang up in my mind. And I had hang-ups about everything in 2005.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But I don't remember having a hang-up about that.
I don't specifically, but if you weren't like they reference Dark Side of the Moon, or if you weren't Opeth, if you weren't in like Aryan, in kind of that prog space, it kind of like, well, we can't write a concept album.
Yeah,
but Mastodon did it. Well, later. No.
Yeah.
This album.
No. Yes. Yeah, the same. Yeah. Same year.
Yeah. And then, not same year, last year.
Last year, yeah.
Leviathan, yeah.
Yeah, Leviathan, yeah, sorry.
And then Ashes of the Wake, you can quantify that as a concept album, and that's why you go and get Machine to produce your album.
You fucking do. I gotta tell you, I don't think I knew a goddamn thing about this person until we started doing this podcast. He's unfucking believable.
Machine?
Yeah, it's stupid as fuck how good. I mean, the fact that he has made so many albums that we've listened to in the last 2.5 years, and the fact that they've all sounded dramatically different, not even close. I mean, it's almost like he doesn't even have a signature except being good.
Right. Like Zeus is the guy you know about. Machine is the equally good guy who's just like back there.
I mean, he did fucking Clutch.
Yeah.
They couldn't sound further apart. I mean,
they could not.
It's ridiculous. I don't know. That guy, man. Did you see the first producer the first producer was being a douchebag and the vocalist was like, fuck you. And just straight up called the label and like, I'm not working with this fucking dude.
Yep. David Bendeth, most known for his work on Contact by Platinum Blonde.
I don't know.
1987 album.
Sure. I was born that year.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on.
Pivotal release for my lifetime.
No kidding, apparently. Talk about
but good for the band.
100%. I also I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know that until this was. I never cared. This album just stood up. It filled a spot a place in my heart I didn't even know I had to fill.
Yep.
And that's all I ever needed to know about it, just at all.
Yeah.
Because it was just on its own exactly right.
Interestingly, like, it's classified as emo or pop rock, which it kind of is.
Yeah, it's kind of, frankly, if you wanted to hear an all-encompassing album that covers every kind of corner of emo, screamo, and pop punk at the time, like in 2005, this covers all of it. Yeah. In a way that is wildly unique.
Yes.
It almost doesn't allow it to it doesn't allow it to sit in any of those buckets individually at all.
Right.
You'd almost call it a rock album and just leave it. Like, I could see someone just calling it a fucking rock album. And,
rock
like, not
opera.
even overcomplicate. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, if Green Day's album, if American Idiot's a rock opera,
yeah,
you could call this a rock opera.
For sure. Man, it's crazy. Also, this is completely irrelevant to most. I hope you get what I mean by this. This album has the most Patton Oswalt-y sounding bits where I'm going like doing the Patton Oswalt like it's
jock rock in your life.
I mean that with the highest amount of compliment that I can. It's just kind of funny.
That is to say, it's super catchy. Like,
yeah, it's so catchy.
The music definitely belies the subject matter in a little bit of a way that way, but also doesn't. Like, when you dig into the music, it perfectly complements and helps to tell the story of what the lyrics are telling. And at 52 minutes, like, that's impressive to do. This is a long album.
Is. A very long album. I don't feel any one of those minutes when I listen to it.
I'm shocked when it starts over.
Same. I actually don't know how many albums in 20 years. I mean, there was a few, and we've talked about a couple of them, I'm sure. But this is one of the few albums that I've never just hopped in and listened to a song, I don't think. I mean, well, maybe that's not true. Every once in a while, I do want to hear Medicating, which, by the way, up front, Medicating is not... I am not letting either one of us pick that as our favorite. It is going
I figured
on our playlist.
I had a backup,
Yeah, good. We're not picking that one. That one's going on. I'm just saying it now. I could put this whole fucking album on our playlist, frankly. I won't, but...
Right.
Yeah, but Medicating at track 5 is going on the playlist, and we, to our detriment to some extent, will have to pick 2 other favorite songs.
Yeah, right.
And by detriment, I mean it was just hard to pick. I mean, this is like Unearth, Oncoming Storm, but in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Because out of context, it's hard to it's hard to convey the gravity of a single song out of the context of the album that it's on.
I don't know what any of these sound like out of context, to be perfectly frank. Like, in
I don't either.
Contrast to what Thrice was, like, I could take one of those songs, most preferably right now, out of context.
Sure.
And be like, man, this is great. But, like, to do that with one of these songs, I don't know.
It's selling it short. Yeah. If you're going to listen to this out there, and I mean, I have no idea who's listening to this podcast, but please listen to this album. You may not like it. I'll just say this. The vocalist is not the best vocalist in the world. He ended up having problems with his voice too, which is kind of one of the reasons that caused their initial hiatus to end up being a full-blown
extended
breakup.
hiatus.
Yeah. But it fits perfectly with the music. So it's one of those things where you don't necessarily you cannot have the most talent in the world and still be the best person for the job.
True.
And this vocalist does a lot of that here. He sounds perfect for the album, but I think if you were to like if you go back and listen to David Lee Roth's isolated vocal tracks from like really early Van Halen, his voice is hot fucking trash garbage. But you can't have those songs without David Lee Roth on them. I'm not trying to say this guy's David Lee Roth. Please don't misunderstand. But he is not maybe the best vocalist in the world, but he sounds perfect on this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if you're not into emo or if you have a problem with emo, which some people I think still do in a strange way.
Yeah.
I hope you can set that aside and listen to this and let it be what it is. Because, man.
And the other vocalists totally support his sound as well and help round it out in a way that we've seen some people not do so well when there's multiple vocalists involved.
Yep. I'm trying to think. That is Taking Back Sunday. Go fuck yourself.
Taking Back Sunday. Yep. Fuckers.
Yep. I will never forget them now out of my hatred of them.
Fantastic.
Hate helps me remember a lot more than love. Unless it's like this. This is one of the most profound pieces of music I've ever heard.
Total bummer. And it's fantastic that it's not based on something either. It's a standalone story.
Did you see that his wife was murdered, though? The
No.
vocalist's wife was murdered last year.
No way.
Yeah.
That sucks. For like multiple reasons, but
you don't want that.
I'm sorry. That is a heartfelt sorry from me.
Agreed. I don't do this often when I post on Instagram. Well, I don't want to like kill the. Yes, I post to Instagram. I know I say we, but
it's definitely
sorry. That's why it's so bad. But I will be tagging every member that's ever been in this band if they have an Instagram on that shit. I don't normally do that. I don't know. If you guys, we've had a couple podcasts make its way to the artist. I don't want to be too fanboy over here and call it out too much, because it seems like I'm doing a weird
humble bragging.
And I don't want to go too hard on that. But if you all hear this and reach out, I will. We could talk about it. We could have you on the podcast. I don't know how many people are going back to this 20 years later. It's oddly seems like I don't know how an album that was so impactful to me seems kind of like a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things.
It really flew under the radar.
And they didn't even celebrate it as a band. Even when they did like, we're going to play a whole album, they didn't pick this one. They played other albums in full.
Hurts that, those the drummer and the keyboard player departed right after. They toured a lot.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And they said that's essentially what what wore them out was just this like excessive touring, which I get. I can see that.
Yeah. You got you gotta grind, unfortunately.
Yeah. And it's also weird generally when you're into an artist and they have this sort of moment musically. That's usually what kind of springboards them into another level. This did not do that.
No.
I don't. Where this album sits in the universe of music that I am aligned to is so bizarre.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's very hard to explain how important it is while being totally possible that no one listening to this has ever even heard of it. It's possible you've never even heard of Boys Night Out.
That is, yeah. It's possible you've heard of Boy Hits Car and not Boys Not Out.
I have to physically shake my body to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I had the hardest time thinking where I was going to start.
Yeah. Do you want to? I would like to do a track by track breakdown of this. Do you have anything to say about the album as a whole before we dive into that?
Yeah. Mostly just to tell everyone, if you're going to listen to this, and honestly, I don't know if I've ever meant it more. I mean, it's like At the Gates changed. No, I'll be even closer to what it was. Amon Amarth changed my music style completely as far as how I wrote music, which is what helped me make Behold Eternity what it was, and me being an absolute fucking monster. This somehow had more of an impact on me as a person, though, than anything that ever impacted my music writing. And we will talk about that, obviously, when we give our ratings, because impact is one of them. And I'm not trying to spoil it too much, because I think it's complicated. It's the most complicated, I think. I find yeah, I find this album just very complicated to talk about because I don't know how to properly place it. I don't know.
It seems odd to like heap praise on it given the content.
Exactly. That's what to your question. I'm sorry, I got off the rails. What a weird thing. But no, to your question, if you're gonna listen to this, and again, please do. It's the saddest subject matter of any.
It is extremely.
I don't even know if I mean music, like any piece of art form, any art form that I've ever tried to, I don't know, like to take in and to like digest. None of it's ever made me sadder than this.
Right.
I mean, remember when I bought the CD, I just read the booklet and I listened to this thing like 19 times in a row, and I just sat in my grandparents' basement just fucking depressed. But I couldn't stop listening to it because of how I don't know. The story is so. I mean, it catches you and it latches on. It doesn't let go, even though you want it to.
Yeah, if you're open to it, you'll be all up in your feels. And you'll be right along for the ride. You don't even have to be that open to it. Like, it's just written that well. You will be on the journey.
Yeah, and to your earlier point about the music, both being an opposition of the subject matter while also perfectly flowing with it. Okay. It's you almost don't have to hear it. Like, you're going to hear the vocals and you're going to hear the lyrics. He enunciates really well. It's not hard to miss, or it's not easy to miss. But if you're not paying attention, you'll feel it regardless. Like, this thing does not let you get out of feeling miserable. It just doesn't. While also giving you some of the catchiest choruses ever written somehow. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I don't know.
If this does make it to the band and it's possible to hear like either isolated vocals or an instrumental version of this, I would love that journey.
I would kill to hear an instrumental version of this, and not because I don't love the vocals. I adore the vocals.
Right.
I just want to be clear, what I said earlier wasn't a knock. This was the vocal styling in the emo, screamo, pop punk kind of world anyway.
Yeah.
But again, he's perfect for this, so please don't take that as a slight. That's not how I mean it. But to hear an instrumental version of this would be wild, I think. But no, I mean, that's it. Just buckle up. If you're going to listen to it, just my main point would just be to know that what you're getting into is not, it's not a light lift. It is a heavy lift emotionally. And now if you're up for it, though, it's rewarding as hell.
It is.
But but no, I don't know about you. That's all I got. We can definitely get into the tracks, frankly, because it needs to happen for this one.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had. But I will say, like, in relation to the music, like, and it's so there's not a lot of guitar solos on this or solo work for many of the members, but where they are placed and what they do is just it shines. It's impactful. Like, the guitar solo, if you can even call it that are on the album, they're not that complex. They're not shred your face off, but gee whiz, like, they really capture emotion.
And it's so harmonious.
Yeah.
It's well, also go try to fucking play some of this if you play guitar and come back to me. Tell me if you can do it, because I am good at guitar. This is fucking hard.
It's complex.
I've tried to learn medicating, like, it's not complicated, but their musicianship is just medicated. It's so I can't
tight.
Play it.
It's all so tight.
No, there's just they're finger tapping all over the place and just I don't know.
The last thing to say about the album as a whole for me is that notably, especially for 2005, all of the track titles are one word.
Yep. Which is in contrast to their previous record.
Yes.
And because we brought it up, this stupid song titles from 05, 04.
Yep.
They didn't do that. And it's so much more impactful for it, too. Just every fucking decision that they made for this thing was, I just, again, I don't believe in fate or any of that shit, but this is, some stars seem to have aligned here. in a strange way. Oh, did you know they made a musical? They didn't, but like a theater group did.
I saw that in 2017. Like, I would have donated a testicle to anybody who was willing to take it to attend that.
I would have taken time off of work. I would have traveled
to Canada.
I'm so sad that that's a thing I didn't know happened. Because I always thought that, even back then, I was like, man, this should be a fucking movie or
the closest
like a limited
thing
TV
that it's
series
ever
or something.
Put me in the mind of, which is unfortunate that I have to compare it to this movie, but is Sucker Punch.
That's interesting.
They're not the same at all.
No. I mean, well, you know, I don't know if I've ever seen Sucker Punch.
We may have watched it together once.
Maybe. It was Zack Snyder's, like, flop, right? Where everyone was mad the way that it was made. Didn't they release the original? Didn't he film it later? Like, I want to say he got all the original actors back to film it the way he wanted to or something.
I don't know about that, but I would love to watch it. Because,
I won't sidebar us too hard, but I'll check on that when we're done. I know either that happened or is gonna happen.
I'd be cool
like, I have read something about it.
Like, I definitely understand the critique of it, but man, it's got Oscar Isaac, it's got John Hamm.
Yeah, that's nuts. I'm gonna watch that today. Good call. I appreciate you bringing that up, because if I have seen it, I don't remember it at all.
It's got the actor who plays Stick from Daredevil.
Oh, sick. Anyway, yeah. I'm beating a dead horse already. Sorry. Let's get into it. Let's get into it, because
let's start introducing. All right.
Indeed. Track 1. The only note I have here is buckle up, gang.
Yeah, that's super fair.
It gets you ready. It absolutely gets you ready, but not fully. You just think you know what you're getting into, and then.
So it comes in with like a dreamy guitar keyboardy sequence. And then when the drums come in, man, they are heavy. That little kick pattern,
it's unbelievable.
And the cymbal work right before it, it's a little lilty. It's a little up there, floaty. But man, that kick drum pattern just grounds you straight away.
It does.
And then the doctor comes in with the tape recording sound. Check.
I don't know how an album 20 years of like later and listening to it the whole time, but when I turned this on, again, not too much inside baseball. This was not the album we were going to do this week, but Josh crushed it in the pivot. And just immediately once he does the check, the goosebumps that I get still, it's never changed. You just feel, if you know what you're getting, whether you know what you're getting into or not, the weight is the same.
Yeah. Shout out to Ken Greenberg as the doctor.
Hell yeah. I always thought he sounded like Saget.
Yeah,
a little bit.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it doesn't help the sadness part of the album, because when I hear it, I'm like, oh, that's right. And I'm like, oh, it's not him, though. Why would he be doing that in 2005?
Yeah. But man, when he clears his throat in part of it, get out of here. You're like, oh,
Guy
man.
Crushed. Yeah, the dude crushed it. And also, I hope that doctor was fired.
Yeah.
Because, man, he botched this shit.
Yeah, this conceptual doctor. Yeah, potentially wondering how bad I'd messed up this time. Like, God, dude, you gotta do better.
Yeah, it's not great. And then that begs the question. We'll get to it, I guess, by the time we get to the last track. Introducing. That's the title. It's 3 minutes and 37 seconds long, and you really get a sense of what you're getting into, even though you don't know.
Yeah,
you think you know. You have
they lay some groundwork, but
they do. They get you ready for something that you're absolutely not ready for.
Yep.
I was wondering how obnoxious I was going to be about this, because it's whatever. That leads us into track 2, and I don't know, should we explain the problems that this man is having before we get into track 2, Dreaming, or?
I don't think so.
All right, cool.
I mean, if you listen to track 1, you know what's going on with the patient.
Yep. There is a patient. He's
plagued by violent nightmares.
Yep.
As stated by the doctor.
Indeed.
That's what I love about it. It's all plainly laid out.
Yeah.
At least in, high level concept. And then the story and the band help the whole thing unfold and fill in the gaps and the feelings and the imagery and the emotion. God.
Yeah, it's unreal. It is cool when your story's so good that you can just plainly tell it with almost no metaphor. Now, there's some, and actually I think some of this you could interpret in different ways, which I hope we talk about. But the fact that they can just so plainly on the nose tell the story and the lyrics, which he does, frankly. I mean, again, you could read between the lines on some things, or you don't. You can take it completely on face value. But the fact that the story is so good that you don't even need to rely on metaphor to keep things interesting is just a testament to how well this
absolutely
group did this. I mean, because it was a collaborative effort on the lyrics. It wasn't just the vocalist. One of their members at the time was an actual writer and came to the vocalists with the idea, and the vocalists worked on the lyrics in content, like
Jeff Davis, I believe, the guitar player.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, track 2, Dreaming.
Yep.
Yeah.
Starts off, it kind of continues off of track 1, and then the shift in his vocals on the lyric "Tonight It's Worse," that kind of like drops the curtain a little bit.
Yes, that is foreshadowing at its finest.
Yes.
And just with one note. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Assholes. You guys are fucking assholes. I can't... This is like a... I would aspire to, like, oh man, you told me a whole story with one note and one word.
Right.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, the drummer keeps up being awesome with his little well-placed bell accents. They bring the tape recording back just a little bit to tell a little bit more of the story, help tie track 1 and track 2 together. It's not a full motif throughout the entire thing, because that would really kind of just beat a dead horse. But
true.
And then they get to like a bridge outro thing, kind of 3/4, 2/3 of the way through the song, where they half time and kind of take a little clean break.
Yep, and then they go into one of the biggest rock riffs.
Rock riff. There's a lot of rock riff on this.
Yeah, there really is. But the way that song ends, you would have no idea from the beginning of that song that you would end up at the end that you get. No. I mean, there's just the amount of key changes on this thing, the amount of tempo changes, the amount of and none of it feels forced. You could not even notice.
It's all seamless.
But it's honestly, it is mostly the drummer. Yeah. I'm not saying, but if the point of a rhythm section is to keep everybody together and allow everything to keep going as one, boy, they got the right dude.
Yeah,
man. You start to figure out that maybe this guy's violent dreams caused a little bit of an oopsie daisy. Yeah.
A mistake, which they bring back later on.
Yes, they do.
But that takes you straight into track 3, Waking.
It does.
Waking from the dream.
Indeed.
And man, they really capture that feeling too. The lyrics super bum you out, but man, you really feel like you are waking up from that dream.
Yeah, you do. You don't want to, but you do. You feel it. Waking. This is when our debatable protagonist, antagonist,
main character.
Yeah,
the patient.
You could the patient. You know what? Yeah, I will refer to him as the patient going forward. That's well said by you. Waking is you figuring out that whole violence coming from your dreams thing. Your wife's dead.
Yep.
And you killed her.
Yeah. And is this our first instance of gang vocals to chant the line, "Make this a dream"?
Yeah. it is one of the best parts of any song ever made that I've ever heard.
Yeah. Comes in right after the kicks.
Yep. And he's doing the dance beat.
Yep.
Why? Like dance beats, like dance beats are inherently, they are by definition upbeat.
Yes.
They are on the upbeat, not the downbeat. And therefore sound
beat down
positive no matter where you put them. Like, and yet the lyrics over it and the gang vocals coming in.
Yeah.
Nuts. Bananas. Make this a dream because you really can't believe that she's gone.
Yeah.
I'm not here and this isn't happening.
Yeah. That's what you would prefer.
Uh-huh. Yep, but unfortunately the reality of the situation is that she is gone.
And that takes
murdered her
pretty
violently. Also.
Pretty violently. And that will take you right into track 4, sentencing.
Indeed.
Where we're going to find out what happens to the patient.
We are.
In the legal sense.
In the legal sense. Also, sentencing, again, track 4, sounds like No Doubt a lot to me.
I could see that. Anyway, sentencing.
Yeah.
Comes in with a nice slow intro as if, maybe you've had some time to reflect and maybe there's some sense of uncertainty about what your future holds. Yep. And then you take a nice upbeat jaunt to the courthouse. Judicial precedent. We'll see to that. We'll see to that.
That specific part is so old, No Doubt to me. That like half note shift in the vocal is very 90s, which thank you for it. There's a lot of that on here. A lot of 90s influence. I mean, they didn't say that, but it's on there. And I dig it. I'm happy for it.
Yeah, but this is where we get the line, nothing makes sense anymore when murder's just a mistake that you have made.
Yep. Which, to put it like that...
Yeah, has always crushed me.
Yeah, it breaks
because
my heart.
It's true. Like, he did make a mistake. He was dreaming.
He made a mistake.
He made a mistake. And he murdered somebody. And that doesn't make sense.
No. And, you seemingly don't come back from that. Or you try to, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But can you imagine, like, people judge everyone by their mistakes, but generally those are, I don't know.
That's you fucked around and found out, not like I was not an active participant in this.
Yeah, like yesterday I went to the grocery store and on my list I had toilet paper and I still forgot. Yeah. Like that's the mistake I made yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be just fine.
Yep.
I'm not even out. So it's barely a mistake.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having to live with one in which you... Also, I think it is important to point out, even though you will hear it in the first track, but I just would like to say it. It is very important to know that these two people, the patient and his wife that is now murdered, the victim, are truly, madly, deeply in love.
Yes.
And that's... When you read the booklet that came with the CD, it really heavily emphasized that because it gives like a summary before you even get to the lyrics.
Yeah.
And it really hit on that as much as it could. And I think it's very important to remember that piece of things the whole time. Never let that part exit your mind while you're hearing any of this.
And it comes up in later songs also lyrically.
It does.
So, we go from sentencing. Our patient has committed as if he was active in it. But the mistake has happened. Yes. And now we're going to try and make him better, potentially.
And
through medicating. That
leads us, and how? Yeah, at track 5, we got medicating. One of the best songs to come out of the early 2000s, frankly.
It lives rent-free in my head perpetually.
100%. One of the best claps ever. Yeah,
super good claps on this album.
Also, excellent music video. I don't love that it cuts the song short because I don't think it needed to be cut short at 4 minutes long. I don't know. Yeah,
it is 4 minutes on the dot. I didn't need 3 minutes and 47 seconds. I don't need those aren't the 13 seconds I need back in my life.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But it is a great music video, especially in the context of the album. Once you listen to the whole thing, seeing the video is actually kind of creepy.
Very bad.
It's not. But you don't know that when you're if you were to only make it to track 4 or 5, and then go watch the music video, you wouldn't know how disturbing it is because it just seems not disturbing at all. Seems
you would think
everything's getting better.
Yeah, you would think the band was just doing like an early 2000s like insane asylum type vibe. Yep,
but no. But excellent song. I don't really have a lot of notes on this, but this is about the patient. The patient feels that it would be best to try to get out into the world again to heal.
Yes.
And I understand that thought. Even during COVID, I kind of couldn't wait to have a routine again. And I didn't mistakenly murder my wife in my sleep. So I can't imagine how much that would be, And
you really get the sense that he has, or at least is getting better. Like, doctor, I can't thank you enough. Doctor, you won't regret this. Like, you can just see him like shaking hands with the doctor as he's leaving the hospital. The nuance in the drums on this song in particular is incredible. Like the cymbal work that he's doing and the subtle snare rolls in the background. Just, man.
He didn't need to do any of it, and because
absolutely not.
I would say out of the whole album, "Medicating" is the most straightforward pop punk song, essentially.
Yeah.
And so the drummer could have just been along for the ride, but not this fucking guy.
No, not this fucking guy at all.
Nope. But yeah, so our patient gets released.
He does.
Goes out into the world.
There could be some peril in your first night alone out of
and that's to be expected. Seems to be something folks know to be ready for and to be mindful of, that it might be a tough transition from
you could potentially underestimate how difficult it's gonna be, though. And
you could.
Man, Purging, track 6, captures that immediately.
This is Purging at track 6 is the most claustrophobic piece of music I have ever heard in my life.
Especially the very beginning. The layering of vocals, the cymbals, the dissonance, the keyboards.
I mean, it's a nightmare.
It really is.
Yeah, and it's conveying what the struggles that the patient's going through out in the world, because maybe what you don't think of when what you want to go back to is your semblance of normalcy is how those folks are going to look at you differently now.
Yes.
And maybe your coworkers just don't want you back at work because they're scared of you. Because the mistake you made.
Yes. And also now every bit of what was normal for you is gone.
Yeah. Even though what you went out to seek was normal, you realize now that normal no longer exists for you.
Not in that context.
Not in that context. No matter how hard you want it back.
Yes.
You'll... Man. Yeah, Purging is fucking brutal.
It is.
Even still, 20 years later, it is it's beautiful in its madness, but it's heavy. It's heavy to listen to.
It is emotionally heavy, yeah. And actually, like the beginning's musically heavy, and then
it's a.
And then
then he does something.
Yeah.
What does the patient do for a living, Josh? It seems like he works at a sort of.
This is kind of where I've always lost the thread, but in reading the wiki, I understand he works at a factory of some sorts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Seems like, he's got some table saws.
Ah, yeah. Access to sharp things is a very good idea for our patient.
I mean, I'll let you just... You can tell
it seems like
people what happens here.
Seems like if you were struggling to cope with normalcy, you might have you might be relapsing.
Indeed.
And have a bit of a thought that, like, well, I hurt somebody physically with my hands. That must be the problem. If I have no hands, I can't hurt anybody anymore.
True. Well, here's what I would say, though. The act of that, I would say, happens in purging, because I think he's waking up in the hospital for relapsing.
You're right. He absolutely is.
Yeah.
He has cut off his own hands, and now he's waking up in the hospital to the beautiful voice of his wife, the keyboard player, Kara. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name. It doesn't.
Yeah.
But lovely voice, and this is the first time you hear it too.
Yeah, it's the first time you hear it, which I think is very impactful.
And she really does make you feel like you're coming out of that dream.
It's brutal, man. So here's what I would say for relapsing. The introduction of his wife's voice, in my mind, is also the introduction of you truly knowing that this person is now has been descending into madness.
Yes.
And now he is hearing his wife's voice in his head.
Yes.
Which the fact that she is singing so beautifully is so haunting because of the context.
Such a bummer.
It is. I wish she actually sang a little worse.
Yeah.
It would make it easier to deal with, but she's singing like an angel.
Craig, I can't believe you. That'd be better.
No, you have both. But yeah, no, I wish she sang worse. She doesn't. Her voice is lovely. Is that the song, by the way?
That's the song. This is the introduction
is that how you take that?
The song. Yes.
The song?
The song that plagues the patient is introduced in this, in relapsing. And I love that she serves as the refrain throughout this particular track and keeps reinforcing the idea of this state of mind that he's in and the song.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like she's almost in this trying to help him stay afloat.
Yes.
Whereas she comes back later on, and maybe those are not the intentions any longer.
Perhaps not.
Man.
But yeah, so you relapse, and then you're back in the hospital, and maybe you start recovering again at track 8.
Yep.
I love the lyrics in this song in particular. There's a few songs where the lyrics do stand out to me as just being incredibly catchy, well written. But this one really paints the picture of the patient's mindset at this point. One pill will get me through the day, but I take 2 anyway. When I take 3 pills, the song begins to play. When I mix 4 pills with a drink, the song starts to play. It's in the back of my head, and it's everything, and it's everywhere, and it's all I can think about. Like, it devolves so quickly.
Yeah, he goes from genuinely at track 5, you think the patient is doing so much better. You're rooting for him.
Yeah, shaking hands with the doctor, walking out the door.
Yep. By track 8, at recovering, which I think is ironically titled on purpose. Obviously, I'm not trying to, I don't know if I needed to point that out, but, the song, by the way,
or the patient thinks he is recommitted. This is his thought of his path to recovery.
Exactly. Well, I think that's true. I think the patient thinks that they have received an eye-opening idea.
Yeah.
That is going to help them recover.
Yes.
But in the sense of actual recovery, it could not be further from the truth as they slowly fall into addiction, which I can't imagine helps the mindset of a person who accidentally killed the love of their life in their sleep. Yes. The song, I just want to be clear, the song, quote unquote, capital T, capital S, the song, is the song that the patient is hearing and doesn't know how to get out into the world, but he believes should they get it out into the world, that will be the thing that
it's redemption.
Helps them recover. That's the redemption.
Yeah.
But this person does not have the skill that they actually mentioned to create the music.
Or hands at this point.
Or hands at this point. Which I did wonder about that. They don't I assume that when he says
With
the
no
lines,
hands and even less skill.
Yeah, but do they get reattached? Because I don't know if you'd say lines, and if he's gonna get into an addiction, I don't know. He's taking a lot of pills. I don't know. It just seems like the line part always kind of gave me the picture that the hands were back at some point somehow.
They could be. Because
I wouldn't call. If I had them cleanly cut off, I don't know if I would see them as lines. But, well, you know what? This is me trying to make sense of a person that is going mad. Yeah. So never mind. Maybe just don't worry about me overlooking or looking too far into that. But also, this is one of the only lyrics that I called out as well, was in Recovering. So good on us. Again, we've talked about this. You and I do not discuss the albums leading up to the recording, but the line, the perfect song will call for sedatives, sacrifice, and sing-alongs.
Madness.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
And it continues from here, just in composing. Now he's talking about composing the song in track night.
Indeed. And you start to learn what he means by sing-alongs.
Yeah, so in Recovering, you truly get the sense that this patient is not okay. They're putting up a facade with the doctors. Yeah. And in Composing, you get this sense of being awash with the beginning guitar melody and the slight fade in. And now, lyrically, it's all about the song in his head. The one where the audience is all dead.
Yeah, so...
The song being for his wife... The audience being his wife?
Well, I don't take it that way.
No?
No, in Composing at track 9,
these are new victims.
He starts murdering people. He invites friends and family over to have dinner and ask for forgiveness.
We're having strychnine and sirloin.
Yep, so he is murdering his friends and family while they think he is trying to redeem himself.
Yep. And man, again, Kara with the keyboards, just that repetitive one note or chord melody and the clapping.
The clapping is, I'm not going to lie, if in Composing you yourself start to think you're maybe in the looking glass a little bit, I don't blame you, man. I start to question my own fucking sanity when by this point in this album, I'm like, am I fucking insane?
Oh, and then the fade out. And then the lead into the next song, a little industrial clanking. Yeah.
It's brutal. It is brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have he's killing people to build his audience.
He is.
So they can sing along.
Yeah.
Because the audience has to be dead.
They do.
And the wife also starts telling him as much around this part of the album.
At this point, track 10, Disintegrating. Very aptly named.
Maybe the most aptly named track, even though sentencing is very on the nose, whereas Disintegrating is absolutely accurate.
Yes. And the way they bring in the vocals with that, slide in little ghostly echo. Good on you, machine. Yeah. Good on
Very good on you, machine. And then we get our first punk beat of the album, weirdly.
Yeah.
Juxtaposition is what this album is.
Yes.
It is. It is.
This is the
choruses.
Photo next to the entry in the dictionary.
Yes. Because you're singing along on the choruses of these songs because they're so catchy. All the while, the subject matter and the patient is just devolving into something less and less human.
And if all this could bring my love back to me, I'd do away with the drugs and the drinking. So, it captures the despair and the loneliness in the patient. He maybe wants to get better, but there's just something appealing about leaving his body behind with the drugs and the drinking.
And
the
drinking
pull of
and
addiction
the drugs.
And the wife.
And that allows him to hear his wife, who is very much now pushing him to complete the opus, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would make a great episode of Hannibal.
It would make a great like a short season of a show, like a limited run 8 episode, or hell, 12 episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why someone hasn't bought the rights to this to make it into a 12 episode 1 season show, and then you're done with it.
I know there's a duty on what you do with a time machine for a few things, but like very close to the top for me is going back to 2017 and seeing this performed.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, honestly, I'd let a lot of the world down, because that might be one of my.
It's a single-use time machine. Yep.
Yeah, single-use time machine.
Fuck you guys. I'm doing me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the most selfish motherfucker who has ever lived, including some of the people I should probably be going back and. But anyway, Disintegrating is brutal, while being insanely catchy, and I don't get how they walked that line quite as well as they did. The fact that he does actually seem to he knows he's in the wrong a little bit makes it so much worse.
Yeah. They do a masterful job of staying on the line.
Yeah, I don't want him almost to even know that he's doing anything wrong at this point.
No.
Like, I want him to be all the way gone, because that way you can almost sympathize less, or it makes you feel less.
Like, oh yeah, he's totes cray.
Exactly. You can. It's like
there's no humanity left to this guy.
Yeah, there are a lot of serial killers. Last podcast talks about this. Not that maybe that's a great move to pull up another podcast on a podcast, but they talk about how there are some serial killers who are way more impactful, quote unquote. I hate to use that term. It's true. It just it's more in a positive manner, but. That we don't talk about, that aren't popular in the media, because we can't wrap our heads around how heinous they were.
Yes.
And that's almost where I want The Patient to be by track 10, and the fact that they're not is awful.
Yes.
It's so much worse. It's like her voice being beautiful. I would so much rather her voice be a little worse.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But track 11, Healing.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Quote unquote.
Makes my skin crawl.
The continued use of gang vocals here, and so in the beginning of the album, the gang vocals were like reinforcing and positive, kind of. But here, now, this is his audience at this point.
Yes,
it's really shifted the intent of the sound and what it's conveying.
Yes. No empire, no love.
Right.
It's Healing's tough, man.
Healing is tough. Yeah, but you really do start to get the sense that this is the closing act for The Patient. They bring back a lot of the lyrical motif from the previous songs.
Yep.
There's this line in it: music this magnificent and medicine are one and the same. They make life worth living, hearts worth healing.
Man. But
is that like music, or is that this song that he's composing?
That's how I take it. I take it as that, but you could see it both ways so easy. And the fact that it's now we've totally shifted.
Yes.
From what we view the terms of these single word track titles to mean into what The Patient views the single word track title to mean.
Yes.
It is no longer tied to your reality. It is now firmly tied to theirs.
Yes.
Which is not a reality you want to be tied to. But unfortunately, or for better or for worse, here we are.
Yep. And then, man, going into the final track, Dying. The lyrical style, which hasn't been used up to this point, this particular delivery, and the keyboards have this wonderful sense of dread, this total slide into just bare existence, and everything is awry at this moment.
Yep. And they, at the instruction of his wife, they made it to get their final audience member to show.
Yes.
They made it just long enough for the doctor to find the emaciated, just total lack of a person rotting away in a tomb of their own creation with a smell that can only be attributed to the audience.
Yeah. Hint of perfume.
Hint of perfume, his wife's perfume. Which...
The smell of her perfume struggles to cover everything.
And the doctor... You hear the doctor again?
You do.
The doctor comes back into the landscape here, and man, it's not good. It's bleak. It might be the saddest song I've ever heard. Genuinely.
To end with the lyrics whispered the way they are, we were inseparable.
It's so awful. It's awful. It's no less awful now than it was 20 years ago.
Nope.
It's brutal. It's hard to listen to. It is genuinely hard to listen to. That is a 7-minute track almost. 6 minutes, 40 seconds. And you don't feel a second of it because you are just lost in the most dreary, melancholic, like a space that I hope never comes to fruition for any of you for real.
Absolutely
because I never want to feel that space for real in my entire. I have been depressed. I don't know if I've ever been as depressed as that song makes me feel that person is. And
it's so clearly illustrated too. Like what that scene looks like. You can imagine every single part of it.
Yep. Yeah. It's brutal. Here's my question, because I can't keep being this sad. So. Unlike most albums ending on an upbeat or a high note, this is the exact opposite, obviously. However, in your mind, does track 1 represent the doctor getting him back and trying again and saying, how much am I going to fuck up this next time? Because he's still alive from the attempt on track 12 of...
I have always wondered that. I've never been able to settle on it. And it pisses me off because, like, I want it to start at the beginning, but it almost feels like it starts at the end after this has happened. And then here we go again. And it fucking kills me. Yeah, I don't know. Again, if any of you guys hear this, please this is purgatory at best. This is Sisyphus rolling a rock up a hill. It is absolute Sisyphus. Yes, you are 100% accurate. And you're just gonna is that a game changer? I won't get. I get off on game changer tangents too much. But it's brutal. So I have no idea if track 12 is the beginning or the end. I have no idea. It's the end of the album, yes, but I have no idea if this is where track 1 is starting off or if that's truly the resolution, which I hope for him it's the resolution. Like, I hate to say it, but this guy's gotta die. You can't live like that. Right. Well, not to mention he's murdering people, which, sure, that old chestnut. Right. But I don't want him to have to live. I want him to find some semblance of peace, and I have no idea what that looks like for a person that went through this, because I can't. There's nothing about... Clearly, if track 1 is the beginning after this, it does not go well for him. No, it does not. And then I don't know if in the middle bits where he's talking about how he goes in and out of different hospitals and half houses, if that's him talking from the shared experience of going back and forth over and over, track 1, track 12... Or if it's just he has to go through all of that in the one single cycle of his madness. Yeah. The fact that I don't know, again, to your point, pisses me off because it makes it so much worse. The unknowing of this makes the gravity unbearable. But again, this is a masterpiece. I listened to it all week. Yeah. It's a bummer, but it's amazing. Yeah. This is going to be a fairly long episode because we're not cutting any of this except for maybe like one small tangent, but we should probably dive into the review. Yeah, let's get into the review.
pretty succinct on this, even me, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, so the review may be the shortest part, honest. I mean, we've heaped praise on this album to this point, and you know, a lot of listeners did at the time. Some critics gave it kind of mixed reviews. There were some comments that, you know, maybe it was a little disjointed or maybe it was a little too straightforward.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you could interpret if your job is to review music and you just listen to an album once and then it goes on the heap with the next thing. But
You know what?
Reviews are 4.5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, of course they are. So, Josh, some positive things. Artwork. I feel like in a way we gave this a bad,
that's not
like,
positive.
No. I just hope you understand the story we just told on behalf of the album was in its favor, not in its detriment, despite how it may have sounded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, artwork. Josh, what do you think?
Artwork should be credited to Switzerland for art direction and design, and Gordon Ball for photography. And it's a 5. It's a 5. Like, I could talk myself into a 4 because I don't necessarily know about the stenciled Trainwreck graphic over the big.
Yeah.
But it's big in yellow over an otherwise black and white photo. And yeah, the stenciling's definitely a 2005 type thing, but like it's a 5 because of how well it captures the album. And again, to our most recent talking point, like, I can't tell if this is the beginning of the album or the end of the album that it's trying to capture.
Right, exactly. And that's the ambiguity of it is insane. I agree in everything you said. It's basically a like page from a noir novel. You have the
Dick
doctor,
Tracy in the background with his hat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the doctor's in the background. He's just a silhouette. He's finding the patient half dead on the ground, as Dying would have described it. Track 12. The only thing I have a problem with, I actually don't even have a problem with the stencil thing. I think it's almost it goes with the noir thing, because noir would always have those big bold letters.
Yeah.
So I think it fits the motif. The only real problem I have is I wish they didn't give a face to the patient. I would rather have had the patient be up for interpretation or in my imagination. If I had to critique it, that's like, I think they crushed it with the doctor. Like, giving him a voice rather than a face is better for me. And the patient speaks on the record too on track 1.
Yep.
At least just on track 1. But
don't tell me.
So I think it would have been cool if both of them just had a voice for me to try to picture rather than a face.
Okay.
But do I dock it for that? I don't dislike it either. It's actually well done. It's just for my own personal.
It's only half of a face, and it's mostly an eye.
True. But I mean, what am I saying? It's a 5. You're right. Conveys the emotion and the feeling of the album completely and gets you ready. So, and it looks like a noir thing, which I do.
Also, what's off to the left side of the image? Am I seeing an ear? Is that another person? Is that an arm? Is it his hand?
Wow, I have no idea.
Is it one of the audience members?
That's what I would probably guess, yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
That's not good.
That's not good.
No.
In the sense that the archaic abattoir was not good, this is equally not good in a much different way.
Agreed. Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm glad that just got even more of a bummer. What'd you think of the production, Josh?
The production's a 5. Like, I can't. There's no way that this sounds any different today than it did in 2005. The way every single piece of musicianship is featured and placed, and effects are used sparingly, but they're used so effectively.
Could not agree more. And you know what? Extra bonus points, not really, but the fact that this dude also produced Clutch. The fact that you can get a 5 for production for me from two records that have absolutely nothing to do with one another and couldn't sound more different. Fucking kudos, dude.
Super
well
kudos.
done, Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the band kind of talks about him directing the album or directing some of the performances. Like the backup vocals, Davis's vocals were all done in a day, which
a day.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Like,
no wonder by track 12 he was hitting that grit real hard because it sounds like a guy. Yeah.
And
which is perfect for the feeling of the album.
Yep. And Machine also contributed gang vocals and musically. So like he was definitely in it. This is another instance of a producer sharing a vision with a band. And in my opinion, this is more successful than Thrice. You know, they did their thing, and that was a good relationship for them. But
yeah. No, I get it.
Done better, in my opinion.
Again, like I said earlier, and I fucking hate myself for saying it, but again, stars aligned for however you want to look into that. But man,
could you imagine if like the label was just like, no, you're going to work with this other producer?
Can't imagine.
It's got to be radio. It's got to be radio appropriate. Radio ready.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. But anyway, it's a 5 for me too, and I have almost no notes. The drums, by the way, that drum production is just so good.
It's so good.
Those toms are the size of a mountain while not drowning anything else out.
No.
I have no idea how he did it.
Dan
and I don't care.
Korneff is credited with Pro Tools drums. So
great.
Maybe a little bit.
You crushed it.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care how you got it. I don't care if they're fake. Whatever you did, it worked, and it's insane. The bass tone, it's
phenomenal.
Yeah, forget. I almost said forget about it, but like
forget about it. Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah,
Jesus,
take that.
Yeah.
Impact at the time, Brad. What would you?
I lost sleep over this thing, guys. I'm not kidding. The first night I got it, it broke my fucking heart.
Yeah.
Like I was.
I remember you telling me about it. I'm like, dude.
It hit me like it was. It felt bigger than a piece of music. Like so. Yeah. 5. I don't even know. This was like I've never understood most art, like, and I hate that I don't, kind of, because it seems like people really find a lot of fulfillment from that, and I'm happy for them that they do, and it seems like something I'd like to also be experiencing. This did that to me, like I don't know, whatever was an eye-opening thing for people. Like I know people see certain things and they're like, holy shit, like this was that for me in 2005. I didn't know anything could even be like this. I didn't know this. I can't even put it into like a nice fitting like package. It's just a 5, and I can't even tell you why, and that's why it's a 5. Like, Jesus Christ. I told everyone about this. Yeah. Like, I don't think I ever tried to market a piece of music or an album or an artist to my friends and family more than this shit. I was like, oh my God, I know you like death metal only. Shut up. Put it in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So 5.
Shut up, put it in is going on my tombstone, by the way.
We really chewed it up the joint there, didn't we?
Yeah, oh, gross.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
What about you, Josh? What was the impact at the time for you?
The impact's definitely a 5, but I also don't recall it being 2005 when I heard this. Like, I feel like I didn't get this until later for some reason. Maybe that's not the case, but
I didn't live at grandma's in 06.
Yeah.
So, like, and that's where I had it. So, like, if I told you about it and you started listening to it when I did, it had to be.
I may not. It may have been like a second round in like almost 2008 or something.
Interesting.
It was definitely later.
That's fair. I mean, you know,
But the impact's still a 5. Like, I had no reference for it, maybe, but as soon as I had a reference for it, it was immediately as impactful as you sold it to me.
Yeah. And like, listen, if any of you listen to the podcast, you know that all I ever do is exaggerate and drone on, and it probably annoys people. I would say if it's going to annoy anyone the most, it's going to be you, because you've had to deal with it for the longest. But yeah, I couldn't have been, I don't regret a thing about how much I probably oversold this to every human being that would hear me speak.
Yeah.
Because, it's ridiculous.
We've gotten, like, we've done karaoke or, like, recorded ourselves singing songs, and this was definitely one that I've sang. Sorry, medicating is definitely one that I've sang.
Medicating, yeah.
I tried to play it on drums. I can't, because that dude's a monster, and the nuance to it, I don't have the chops for. Like, I can get the basic beat, but I cannot play the song.
Yeah, and I can't do weird minor chords with finger tapping. So...
Oh, yeah.
Fucking
I remember,
jerks.
Yeah.
It's so hard, and it sounds so easy.
Yeah.
Like, man, maybe that'll be my goal today, man.
Yeah, it's that little slide, isn't it?
It's awful. You have to be so unbelievably accurate with something that most people never even do.
Yeah.
And you have to just all of a sudden nail it. So,
and they do everything is so tight on this.
It's ridiculous. Yep. While not sounding tight, weirdly. Like, it still sounds kind of echoey. It has life.
It does.
Like the guitar, even when it's being super tight and super dead on, and you can probably put a click right up to it no matter how many times it changes BPM. But it still's got this organic breathability to it that, whatever, man.
Yeah, it's not overtly technical.
No. Stupid. Good job, guys. Well, 5 on enjoyed listening today. I won't spend a whole lot of time on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, every time too. It's not one of those albums where it's like, oh, this, like the No, never. It never is. And you listen to the whole thing all the way through every time. And unfortunately, it still makes me feel like that night that I got it. Yep.
Which it makes me want to just crawl into a ball or go try to help someone.
Yeah.
that looks like they need it. I don't know. Yeah. It's just such a 5 for. It's weird to say enjoyed almost. It's so sad. Yeah. But
it's a 5. It's always going to be a 5.
Yep.
I've been waiting so hard to do this album because I didn't want to start off 2005 and just gush all over this album.
Right.
But
same reason we held off with He Is Legend last year.
Oh, yeah.
Because impactful in with same amount of impactfulness honestly as this, just in a completely different way. But I too wanted to hold off, and I almost said no when you brought it up until I realized we're in April already. Yeah. So it's like, yeah. Like, I have held off longer than I even could have given I never would have expected I could have.
No, I thought mid-February at most.
For sure. This, we had the idea for the podcast. We didn't even have the name yet. And my whole goal was to get to this. Yes. Because I feel like it's an album most people don't know and should. I don't understand. Yeah. I'm so happy I didn't have to live without this for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And if I can pay anyone, I don't know a bigger compliment that I can give any piece of art at all. Like, I'm grateful to have found it. And I'm glad I didn't have to live without it. So
it is very easy to conceive that somebody who would listen to this may not like it because of the subject matter.
Sure.
But even if you don't want to listen to it that hard, the songs are fantastic. The songs have an upbeat quality to them.
Yeah, it which makes no sense. Like, well, that's what I was saying. It's just juxtaposition the whole time. Like, don't pay attention to the lyrical content and don't get into the bum part. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Don't. Then just listen to some sick ass punk, like pop punk songs that'll get stuck in your head for weeks.
Yes.
And you'll tap your toe and you'll be clapping the little ta-ta, ta,
Yeah.
ta-ta, ta. You know, you'll be moving your hips. Like, that's no shit. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. You will. So yeah, get as into it as you want. Like, let it be what it needs to be for you. Don't let it be what it needs to be for me. But it is all the things for me.
If you want to open yourself all the way to it, there's a lot to be gained.
Yeah. Man, least entertaining episode we've ever done.
I don't know.
I don't either. I could totally see this. Like, man, they didn't say a single dick joke. No one said cunt, not once.
Check
but
and check.
Here we are. Check and check. There you go. All right. All right, let's not make this a full 2 hours, at least for my own sanity when I get to it later. But all right, so favorite song on the album, Josh, and again, I said it up top, Medicating does not count because it's going on there. I can go first. If you'd rather me go first, I'd be happy to. You did me the favor of letting me go first for a different reason last week.
No, I'm going first in case we pick the same one.
Good call. I was trying to talk you into it, but all right, go ahead.
So, Medicating off the table, I'm going to go with track 11, Healing.
Okay. Oh, thank goodness.
I love that lyric, music this magnificent in medicine. I love the complete devolution of the patient. It's so catchy, and there's so much madness in it. It would almost be composing for the lyric we're having strychnine and sirloin, but...
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm going to go with Healing.
Okay, sick. I'll go with track 2, Dreaming.
Nice.
Because of the gang vocal being like a moment where you go, wait a second. And when he hits that, to your point, that tone on that word, like you go, wait, what? What is happening? Is this as it seems? Like, so this kind of dips your toe into the heaviness of the album while being maybe one of the most catchy choruses that's ever been made. So,
man, it is too.
So yeah, all right, sick. Track 2, Dreaming. Track 11, Healing. Those are going to go on our TDTL Favorites 05 playlist on Spotify, which you're welcome to check out should you so choose. But we're going to be adding Medicating as well because you're goddamn fucking right we are.
Yep.
All right.
We've got an Instagram
we've said
where you
so
can
many things.
Engage us in conversation about this album.
Indeed, TDTL_podcast.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well,
I don't know if we said point totals, but 20 for you, 20 for me.
Oh yeah,
40 all the way. I was really hoping it was going to be. I didn't really have that much of a doubt that it would be.
No. I almost honestly the whole I was being a douche when I thought of the whole I don't want to see the face of the patient. That was me doing everything in my power to try to be objective somewhere where I thought I could maybe dock a point, but
yeah. Same with me in the stencil, mostly just because it reminds me of like that Tony Hawk Underground kind of 2005 vibe.
Yes, it does. Specifically that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you haven't heard of Boys Night Out, maybe actually start with a different album, or maybe don't. Yeah, because nothing's like this.
No, they don't. This is the only thing they did that sounds like this. I'm not really a big fan of their music otherwise. Not that it's bad. I just never really got super into it. It's fine. It's solid. I've never heard anything they've done that was bad.
I heard this first though, and like that's just a bar you can't compete with.
Exactly. I mean, where do you go from there? There's no Anyway.
So, and if you haven't heard this album in particular, if Brad and I heaping praise on it for the past, I don't know, hour and a half isn't enough to convince you that you should at least, maybe give it a try. Maybe give it a try.
Yeah. Go read other reviews. Go. You know what? Look at the wiki and just read a summary of things and just see where that puts you. Maybe I don't know.
If you're in France, go see the Mona Lisa. If you're gonna put on an album, give Trainwreck a shot.
Yeah.
And with that, he's been Brad, I've been Josh, and we've been 2 decades to it.